Robin.
Welcome to the Opie and Anthony Show.
Hi, everybody. How you doing?
Doing well.
On this wonderful whatever morning. See, I don't say the day anymore just in case they play it, replay or something. You sound silly.
I like listening to replays.
Yeah.
Because I get tricked.
Do you?
Yeah, then I'm thinking, wait a minute, I'm not there. So how
you think where it works?
I get tricked?
It tricked me. I tricked myself.
Hockey. You guys know
Hockey.
I like my hockey, right?
Of course.
I'm fading. When is hockey going to be over? July?
Oh, apparently.
It was
tomorrow, I guess, huh?
It was an exciting game last night. Bruins beat the Canucks to push a Game 7, but it's June 14th. I told Anthony, my last hockey game, I went to a game maybe 4 months ago at this point.
Yeah.
I haven't been to a hockey game in 4 months, and I'm a regular at the rink.
At the rink?
I know my team sucked a dick, but still, I haven't gone to a hockey game in 4 months. They're still playing.
Yeah, wow, apparently Boston, holy Jesus, Palomino.
Well, they're going to have to win in Vancouver, though.
Yeah.
That might be a little tough.
But quite a few, what did they score, 4? It was like a little over 4 minutes.
Oh, yeah, you were there then. You were on top of that.
That's crazy. Well, there's so many Boston people that we all know, especially these dumbass comics.
Yeah.
They, I'm kidding. But they're constantly tweeting like, holy shit. And,
the score and stuff.
The score and things like that. And I saw some highlights and stuff. And wow, they got to pull the goalie. He was giving up crazy. He was not standing on his head.
Yeah, he was. It was 4-0 early.
Yeah,
and I had the Louis C.K. season 2.
Yeah,
that I brought home yesterday, and I really wanted to watch hockey. I didn't know what to do, and they made it very obvious what I needed to do. The game was over, even though it only ended up at 5-2.
Yeah.
But it was 4-0 very early on. I'm like, all right, this thing is over. They're going to be playing a Game 7. I want to check out some Louis C.K.
You could watch some shit for pure pleasure.
You get your Louis C.K. disc?
No, I didn't, and I'm kind of thinking.
What do you mean you didn't? Did you run out of here too fast yesterday?
No.
I'm learning we can't run out of here too fast.
But Roland told me it was going to be today. I would get it.
No.
Yeah.
He would never just give me one.
No. He said more was showing up later, so I could have hung out and gotten it yesterday.
But you wanted out of here.
I had to do my kettlebell workouts. It's crazy.
Is it crazy or cray-cray?
It's cray-cray.
Was that cray-cray?
It's crazy. That's the Monday routine, is that, and then Wednesday is arms and upper, and then the Friday is legs and stuff.
Jeez,
so it's like,
man.
Yeah, I have to be at this point. Brr. I want to be like Wiener. I want to be like Anthony Weiner and take my shirt off and take creepy pictures and send them to girls while I hold my dick.
My dick.
My dick.
But you got to explain. They're creepy because of the look the
snarling look
he has in those pictures.
Wow, sexy man.
The creepy part isn't that he showed his dick.
No, who cares?
For the most part, it's because of that creepy look.
That creep look.
He looks in the camera like, I look good.
Look at
and
me.
Here's my dick.
Look at me. Shut up.
Even Obama had to basically comment on the Wiener thing.
Obama was like,
like him or hate him, he's the president of the United States, and he has to comment about Wiener and his dick.
Yeah, he said, he goes, if he was in that position, he'd resign. And all I was thinking is, please, could there be some pictures of Obama? Please.
Grabbing that big hog.
Yeah, that big, delicious hog. Jesus.
I got the Obama thing quick, because you brought it up here.
Obama.
This is Obama.
On a day when President Barack
I hate this guy.
It's awful. When President Obama, on a day where bloody.
How the hell did this guy get in broadcasting?
I know, he stinks.
Who did he
lulls
trick?
You to sleep.
He sounds like Bobby? Bobby?
I saw Obama, Bobby.
On a day when President Barack Obama traveled to North Carolina
He
to
bought
talk
some
about
propane.
jobs, he also weighed in on the Twitter scandal that is currently engulfing New York Representative Anthony Weiner. Obama said in an interview that will air Tuesday on NBC's Today Show, quote, I can tell you that if it was me, I would resign.
The House will be in order.
Congress returned to work Monday, but the congressman was not.
By the way, that was Anthony Weiner's dick.
His dick. He's using it as a gavel.
Yeah, they are.
He lent it out as a gavel.
I don't know if you know that, but that's exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
There. Listen, again, it's Anthony Weiner's fucking
hard cock.
Congress returned to work Monday.
He must have been really grabbing the shaft, thus making the head nice and tough and hard.
Was it turgid, as Jimmy likes to say?
To get that rigid wood sound.
I want to thank Jimmy for bringing the word turgid to this show.
It's very underused.
Because I don't think I ever used that word in my life before.
Yes, turgid.
Jimmy brought it here, and now I can't say it enough.
It's a wonderful word.
Turgid.
The House will be in order.
Congress returned to work Monday, but the congressman was not in his office.
What?
I've made some mistakes. I've acknowledged it.
Instead,
Some mistakes.
speaking to reporters over the weekend, he has reportedly gone into rehab at an undisclosed location for a disorder that
This
For a
world.
disorder that we don't know.
This world is insane. You got Anthony Weiner going to sex rehab, which I think in this case is complete and utter bullshit.
That's nothing.
It's a guy that just doesn't want to be married and be a father, in my humble opinion. He wants to be showing his dick.
His dick on this new technology.
Right, to a lot of fucking women.
Yeah.
And then you get Tracy Morgan, who's got to go to Nashville and make believe he cares about gay people.
When you know he really doesn't.
In my humble opinion. I don't think
opinion.
he hates gay people, but he doesn't care about
No,
them.
it's not like this big care thing where all of a sudden now he feels legitimately inside he feels he should make restitution and get involved in the gay causes. No!
I had to do that with you. I'm sorry.
No, but it's
I know that's your
true.
thing, but it's driving me nuts.
It's crazy.
Because he apologized for something he said. This has been eating me away all night.
Yep.
He apologized for something he said on a comedy stage when he absolutely was doing his act. He wasn't even doing a Michael Richards thing, so he can't even argue that part of this. You can't even argue that part of it.
There's so many comics I've talked to, and including Jimmy Norton, that said at some point or another, when it finally hits the stage, when the shit finally hits the stage, and not in a Michael Richards way,
right,
but just in your basic material, no matter what it is, when they finally call you out and you have to make an apology for that, we are really fucking doomed.
But it's been happening, though. It's not a new thing. It's like since Lenny Bruce. And I'm not comparing Tracy to Lenny, but I'm saying people have always judged you on what you said on stage. And what we do now is we grab somebody, find out what we like. People like to use a moment like that as a segue into their particular ideology being talked about more. Like where's the Catholics?
Mm-hmm.
Where are all the Catholics who are offended? Oh, that's right. It's not their thing.
Right.
It's only because he offended homosexuals. It's not going to hear from homosexuals. In 2 weeks, somebody will say something about the Asians. Homosexuals won't say a fucking word.
No.
They'll be the Asians. Everyone uses a verbal slip up or a tasteless moment on stage to segue into a conversation about themselves and their own cause. It's very frustrating.
I know it's been happening since Lenny Bruce, but what's scaring me is it seems like it's ramping up. Seems like it's ramping up a little bit.
Yeah, and also
I think we're going to have a lot of Tracy Morgan incidents in the next year or two.
Oh, if that's going to be the new fucking thing to pick on,
I'm telling you, I think it's ramping up now.
Yeah, you know, it was very, he talked about abusing women and spousal abuse, and that just is not anything to make a joke about. Some of the funniest shit I've heard is about that. You watch The Honeymooners, he's threatening to punch his wife in the face. It's classic comedy.
No.
The Lockhorns.
Right.
Breitbart said, he had an amazing quote. He said, and I hate to keep quoting Breitbart like he's fucking Aristotle, but he made a great point. And what did he say? That comedy is the exhaust system of a society, which is a great way to look at it. It really is this. I don't look at it like it dictates policy or it makes things a certain way or it changes perception. It is just a venting system for when you're frustrated.
When you're frustrated or when you see something funny.
Which you need to run the car.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not just shit coming out. It's important.
Yeah, it's kind of what you do with the process of, like, I guess the car runs and the exhaust is the shit coming out the back. Yeah.
Right. But you kind of need it to keep that car running, you know?
Yeah.
No, who had a great take on this?
On the tailpipe routine.
The black Roland that's on CNN had a great take on this. Although I didn't agree with his Imus thing so much. He said Imus, he was pretty open-minded about this whole thing in general, but said Imus definitely should have been fired because he wasn't considered a shock jock when he said nappy-headed hose.
Stop with the semantics.
He was having some pretty powerful people on that show, so he wasn't looked at as a shock jock anymore. And this was his point. I'm not sure if I agree with it, but it opened my mind. mind a little bit. I have to be honest with you. He said if a shock jock said nappy-headed hose, most likely people would just said, no big deal.
I think
but
that's
because
the
it was Imus and he was having these powerful people on his show, that made it different. That's what he's saying. I don't know if I agree, but it was an interesting way to look at it.
I think that's his way of wanting Imus fired for offending what he holds sacred,
right?
But not wanting to even admit to himself, he said something I don't like, I want him fired.
Yep.
Everyone has like a little check mark next to why they're saying it. Like, here's why, in this case, you shouldn't say that. Because people are never going to be revealing enough to go, you know what? It's selfish. I didn't like it. I want you to get in trouble because I didn't like it. People will never give you that piece of honesty from themselves.
But he did admit, no one should be using the N-word. You can't be the guy saying, well, we should be able to use the N-word, but, white people, let's say, are not allowed to. That he says that's completely ridiculous.
He's right, although
it should be across the board if that's your thinking.
The 7 dirty words are fair because not one broadcaster can say cunt on the radio, like terrestrial radio or TV. No one can say fuck you. No one can say tits. You can't say it. Black, white, Asian. That's all you ask for is consistency. If a gay guy did certain things that Tracy said, even if he worded it a little bit differently, but he was just as harsh about his own family, well, that would be art because the point of the joke was his own family. You know what I mean? If you're saying the right thing, you're allowed to say it. If you're saying something that is disagreeable to certain people, you're not allowed to say it. It's fucking phony.
Yeah, can I say stuff because I consider myself a psychopath? Does that open me up to where I can now say anything because I am crazy?
Right.
Yeah, the crazy. Hey, wait a minute, I'm a nut. I can say shit like that. That's like the ultimate. But yeah, if you're gay, you can say shit about gay people. If you're black, you can say things about black people. And go down the line.
But you should be able to say whatever the fuck you want, especially on a comedy stage.
Especially on a comedy stage.
Especially.
Yeah.
Okay? There's consequences if you walk around your office saying what Tracy Morgan said, obviously.
Right.
Okay? But on a comedy stage, that's what's so ridiculous about this.
The fact that Tracy did apologize is good enough. He acknowledged it. An apology was down, and that's what I guess the 30 Rock people were asking for. An apology, and they were the ones that really made him apologize.
Yeah, it's a fake
As a stand-up, the best thing is you guys work alone. You guys are just there on stage with your material, and you could say, fuck you. I'm not going to do it. But Tracy was in that position of working for a network, and you do have to make some concessions. But to the extent where now he's got to meet with GLAAD and
these articles
all
come
kinds
out.
of sensitivity shit.
Tracy
That is horse shit.
It's a headline. Tracy Morgan working with GLAAD following anti-gay tirade. Tracy Morgan's voices support for gay marriage after apologizing.
I think they should be able to get married.
For homophobic comments.
That's what I think.
And he has to do a PSA.
This is all phony shit that
of course
he's being forced to do.
It's very phony. How about this? Because Tracy's a famous guy.
Yeah.
I would do a PSA for anti-gay violence, and I've never gotten in trouble for saying anything. I have never. And I'm not nearly as famous as Tracy is.
They don't want you.
But they don't. But why would they?
Right.
I'm a fucking nasty comedian.
Right.
I don't want to see violence against gays. I think it's terrible. I'm willing to do a PSA. Why won't they? They won't ask me to do that unless I was to say something very anti-gay in my act, get in trouble, and get my name in the headlines.
They want it to be a consequence.
Yeah.
They want it to be a punishment, not a sincere apology and helping them. And they want it to be a punishment.
They're despicable, this GLAAD, because they're basically holding Tracy Morgan hostage now. They got him. They got him. They're like, you're going to do what we want now, and we'll tell you when it's enough.
And then we won't go to your bosses, and we won't boycott, and we won't do this. Yeah, absolutely.
In this society, an apology means nothing.
Society.
It means absolutely nothing. When we were growing up, if you did something wrong, you could pretty much get out of a lot of shit by apologizing. And meaning it, like, oh, yeah, I was a dick that day or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
But now, man, that don't mean shit. That's only the start. That's where you start.
That's where you start with the apology, and then it's just eating shit the whole way throughout the process.
That's why I think GLAAD is despicable in these other groups. I'm not just pointing out GLAAD. They all do it. The Asian groups do it. The black groups have done it.
Sure.
You start with the apology, and then we got you. We're holding you hostage, and we'll let you know when we'll let go of you.
And they all start off well-intentioned. Like, what they do, like, the gays and lesbians not wanting to be abused in the media or whatever. Hey, look, they got a shitty deal. I mean, they're fucking they can't get married. They can't, it's like enough of it. They're probably sick and tired of having to fight forgetting what most people are allowed to have just by being alive. But they go too far. When you start targeting what people are saying in humor, and it's like, I don't know what Tracy sounded like when he said it. Maybe he sounded like he meant it. I don't know. But it's like they would have to Ron Howard for that, a gay joke. And they target jokes and references that aren't based in hatred, and they know the difference. Every moment cannot be used to segue into a conversation about your cause or your legitimate beefs.
And it's affected comedies. That's why most comedies fucking blow now. Every once in a while, one gets through the cracks, obviously. But in general, man, they got it set up where it's really tough to make funny movies or funny TV shows.
Yeah. And just like you said about you hadn't heard Tracy's comment in the context and the way he said it, neither did 99.999% of the people that are pissed about this and making him apologize. Maybe a couple of people in the club heard it. One person heard it, was offended, and then went out and talked to his minion, and they read, what he said, not even knowing how it was said. At least Jimmy could say, look, I don't know how it was said, so I don't know. But these people are like, well, we don't know how it's said, but when I read it, it sure looks offensive.
I swear to you, that's an old joke, man. I can't prove it, but I feel like I've heard that before from Tracy, and we've seen him over the years. He may have done it even at one of our virus shows.
Who knows?
I can't prove that, but I just have this feeling that joke's been around a while in Tracy's repertoire.
Maybe.
And do you? This is why special interest groups, all of them are terrible. You look at what happened with Weiner, and the the feminist groups are coming out, and they're in a tough position because he's a type politician they like, and they're not going after him. They're saying, well, apparently our congressman was a 14-year-old boy. They're giving him the, you know what, he was kind of a bad boy excuse. Dice Clay, they wanted to lynch in 1989 and 1990.
Yep.
This guy is sending photos of his dick. He communicated with a 17-year-old. He didn't, and they're giving him a pass.
Well, we all know what he was doing with the 17-year-old, but you can't say it or prove it. He was fishing. The guy was fishing, seeing if there was a possibility there.
But being that they're like that, how can anybody respect?
Of course.
Any special interest group? They're so inconsistent. But they're so self-serving, and they so keep quiet when it doesn't serve their interest to be loud.
We've known Tracy for many, many years. Unfortunately, doesn't do our show as much as he used to, but
as in ever, the bees scared him.
Yeah,
that's the last time he did our show.
But reading these articles, you just know Tracy's like, what the fuck? Tracy Morgan has told GLAAD President Jared Barrios that he will team up with the group to meet with LGBT youth and participate in an anti-bullying PSA. What is LGBT?
Lesbian,
gay,
bisexual, transgender, I guess.
Bisexual, transgender. Transgender really is involved in that?
Well, and I must step in here.
All right.
During a call, Morgan committed to meet with LGBT youth from New York's Ali Forney Center who have been hurt or left homeless by parental rejection, as well as family members who have lost children to anti-gay violence, according to GLAAD. Just all this for a fucking joke. Now he has to be educated.
Right, but if you're saying that for real, there's a difference between that and joking around. Everybody knows the difference.
I'm not going to lie to you. It's extremely sad that you got some kids that are homeless and shit because their families didn't want to accept their gayness. That's really sad, yes.
Gayness?
But what does that have to do with fucking Tracy Morgan?
Heard that wrong. Yeah, nothing.
Seriously, it's not his fucking responsibility.
Right. No, he's doing his job just like everybody. And, to bring up Lenny Bruce and stuff like that, that was also during a time where people were really fucking kind of crazy about that. And it was considered indecency. It wasn't about offending people on a group basis. Like, it was more about indecency and the law. Like, the police came in and arrested them for offensive language that was against the law. This is a politically correct thing. It transcends. It's worse. It's worse than the cops coming in and arresting Lenny Bruce on stage for saying fuck, because it's considered offensive and obscene, actually.
Can I say what the difference is? I think it's all the same thing because it comes from the same place. But it's become more covert. You can't do that anymore.
Right.
Everybody knows you can't pull a guy off stage. It's almost like I'm sure certain acts of racism have become more covert because you can't just say, "Hey, boy, what are you doing here?" So you keep it more subtle.
My house.
Stuff, well, your house is a little bit, but you know what I'm saying? It's like you can't do it that way, and it's the same offensive and indecency that they saw was offending religion That's how these people feel about what Tracy said.
Yeah.
And you make a good point. It's very similar to what went on in radio. Like people getting fired and stuff, not for FCC,
No,
violations.
PC crap.
Like you said, more subtle, like the special interest groups getting to the corporate heads.
And the way they were saying it was, oh, look, hey, we're not trying to squash people's freedom of speech, but we don't like what you said. So not the FCC, no laws, but we're going to go to your boss and we're going to exercise our right to protest and boycott the sponsors and everything. And it's like, really, aren't you just taking a fucking left turn here and really restricting freedom of speech?
Right.
Again, it's just semantics. Again,
Of course.
you're using a different technique to squash people's freedom of speech. It's a threat of some type of retribution, not based on just a natural occurrence, based on what I'm saying. I say something anti-gay in a joking manner. No laws prohibit me from doing that. But because someone's offended, they now have an avenue to pursue getting me fired. So that's no different than there being a law against me saying something anti-gay, even in humor.
And that's why I go back to Jimmy. That's way worse.
Way worse.
And we hated the FCC, but it turned out the FCC wasn't the enemy.
Nope.
How many radio guys got fired in the last 5-6 years, okay? And how many of them deserve to be fired because they went against FCC regulations?
rules? I don't think one. I think it was all that PC bullshit.
I couldn't think of one off the top of my head.
Station saying they have a zero tolerance policy against this type of hate speech.
Even the
Stop with your hate speech. You want hate speech? Watch me drive home.
Even the radio show where the woman died with the water drinking contest, horrible situation, obviously, within FCC regulations.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Yeah, man.
It's just a horrible tragedy. I'm not trying to defend those guys, but I'm just saying overall, I can't think of a DJ or a radio show that got fired because of the FCC.
Nope.
I can't think of one.
Do you know?
But a lot of them have been fired because of shit they've said on the air.
Yeah.
I'll bet you everybody who's offended by what Tracy said, and there's a lot of people that might be really upset.
No.
I'll bet you if you polled them, let's just say there's 100 of them.
Yeah.
I'll bet you 90 of them, when the Janet Jackson thing happened, went, "What? Who gives a fuck? Let it go."
Right.
What? You're worried about a titty? What the fuck? It's all
Yeah.
where you're standing. It's like everyone wants to legislate the way you think. It's so irritating. And it's like, I never want anybody penalized for what they're saying and that stuff. So why can't everybody be like that? It's like, it's like you're screaming and nobody's listening.
And historically, the gays are more open and
Very.
well, yeah, they're more open to people being able to speak about different subject matter and take it to the limit. Because they would like to have certain freedoms that they don't have. So the freedom of speech and things like that, very important. But then, like Jimmy said, they hear one thing that's against them, regardless of the context, and I gotta shut that down.
Well, you now make a good point, and this might surprise you, my friend. But I was checking out
that website.
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I'm far from it. But I was checking out the Twitter trend, Tracy Morgan, when this all hit. And very disappointed in black people in general that were part of that Twitter trend because they were defending Tracy. Like, he should be able to say this and do this, which I agree with. But then I'm thinking these same people, when the nappy-headed hoe went down, were, like, almost celebrating. And it's the same fucking thing.
That, again, is based on the fact that he's black, I'm white, so.
Right, but that goes with your point,
Yeah.
It's okay when it hits your group, but then as soon as it hits another group, oh, my God, no.
No matter how liberal and open-minded you are, if something, hits you directly, you're going to be all pissed off.
Right, but you can't have it both ways. I mean, the same people going, Tracy should have been allowed to do this, should have been kind of on Imos's side, which I know that might be tough for some people to do. But that's the point we're kind of making today.
That's why you can't respect any of it. We all know the difference between doing racial humor and what Michael Richards did. Like, I think most common sense people know the difference in your intent, and intent is everything. Like, if you're walking by a guy and he steps on your foot, And he goes, oh, sorry. There's a lot different than a guy stepping on your foot and then making eye contact with you going, what? They're both the same thing, but the intent is different. So the intent means everything. If you're trying to make people laugh, it's a lot different than if you're trying to hurt people and penalize them.
Yeah.
The Michael Richards thing obviously was tough. You know, it was on a comedy stage. But I remember when I was coming up in this business, bosses always said, just give me something that I could defend you with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in the Michael Richards situation, it was tough because for a lot of people, that wasn't his act, which made it really tough to defend that.
Right.
I still think he, on a comedy stage, anything should go. But
I think we got a little carried away with that one.
That was a tougher one, though, to defend.
He deserved getting shit for it because he got caught. He was being angry, and there is a difference between that and being funny. If he had said something like that, but in humor, or there was a punchline to it.
Right.
But he really wasn't. He was just calling people niggers.
He was
you can't
mad
yell that at
Right.
But social justice, again, should be, he's lucky that table full of guys didn't fucking throw a bottle at him or knock his teeth out, because that's a stupid thing to yell in a public place at somebody.
But they also came right back at him with racial epithets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which, okay. What are you
Which is
going to do?
fine.
So they got Tracy Morgan. He's being held hostage. So we might have to get a team together to go rescue him. Make for a good action movie, I think. He's going to be doing the Amplify Your Voice PSA campaign to combat anti-LGBT bullying. Additionally, Morgan plans to return to Tennessee. He's got a whole fucking schedule now. Going back to Tennessee next week to apologize to audience members offended by his comments. I would bet. How many people were in that comedy club that day? I don't know what kind of room it is.
I don't know. I would say, name the room?
I don't know.
Oh.
I would say 1%.
Yeah.
I would say 1% of the people.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there'll be hundreds of people that show up for the apology because they get to see Tracy Morgan.
Oh, yeah.
According to Glad, Morgan told the group Monday that he regretted his remarks. I know how bad bullying can hurt, he said. I was bullied when I was a kid.
Oh,
we know Tracy. This is not Tracy.
I was bullied.
We understand he's got a great gig and he's doing what he can, but once again, this is all bullshit in the end. I was bullied when I was a kid. I'm sorry for what I said. I didn't mean it. I never want to use my comedy to hurt anyone. My family knew what it was like to feel different. My brother was disabled, and I lost my father to AIDS in 1987.
I know that.
My dad wasn't gay, but I also learned about homophobia then because of how people treated people who were sick with that. Parents should support and love the kids no matter what. Gay people deserve the same right to be happy in this country as everyone else. Our laws should support that. I hope that my fans, gay, straight, whatever, forgive, and I hope my family forgives me for this. His family don't care.
Can I say this, though?
About this.
If that's... Now, I don't know Tracy well enough to know how he feels about gay people. I really don't. But is that the way he really feels? Like, does he really feel like, hey, look, all kidding aside,
no,
I don't... I think gays should be married. Maybe he really does feel that way. I mean,
he probably thinks gays should be married. He probably doesn't give a crap either way.
Which doesn't make... Yeah, if he feels gays should be married, that has no bearing on what he says about gays in his act.
Right.
No, it shouldn't. But although he should kind of... you should somehow give that in your act. Like, you know what I mean? Like, wherever you really stand, you should make that kind of the point of what you're doing, wherever you really stand, even if it's wrong. So I don't know what the way he really feels is. I didn't know his father died of AIDS, though.
I didn't know that either.
Maybe I'm lying.
Yeah.
And then again, Tracy can be, I'm sorry, like, let's say he makes fun of AIDS. You can't say that he doesn't know what it's like to suffer from that, or to have somebody you love suffer from that. So does that give him the right to make fun of AIDS? Of course it does.
And I'm sure a lot of people made fun of Tracy about his father. Yep. So Tracy's sort of right in there, no?
Sure. Kind of what he was saying.
Probably had to say 1,000,000 times that his father wasn't gay. And how to explain it.
Yeah, in '87, absolutely. If anyone got AIDS, they called it the gay disease for fucking forever. Years. Yeah,
still.
And then do you want the? I mean, the apology is just ridiculous, but I think most of us sort of know.
Waddle doodle. Apologize.
What did he say? I didn't actually read
it. I guess Russell Simmons is getting involved.
Oh, God.
Why?
I believe everyone deserves the right to be happy and marry who they want to, gay, white, black, male, or female, Morgan told Simmons. And when Simmons emphasized the timeliness of this issue as we try to get gay marriage passed in New York, Morgan jumped at the chance to lend his voice. Let me know where the rally's at, Russ. He said.
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
The apology. I guess the reason I'm successful is because I'm so unfiltered. Yes. Yes. And we like that in entertainment.
Yeah.
We like unfiltered people.
Blurt it out.
It's so fucking refreshing, no matter who you are. I guarantee we get gay guys and fucking lesbians on the phone saying they like their shit unfiltered too.
Yeah.
And sometimes as a result, I say really stupid shit. He does.
Yes.
But that's fucking entertaining as all hell.
I never thought
To be
Tracy
caught off-
realized that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Jeez, wow.
It's the first time I've ever heard Tracy acknowledge that.
Right.
That's insightful.
Grab that lunchbox, go to work.
Yeah.
Right.
What are you talking about?
I don't know, Jimmy. Sometimes I say stupid shit.
Didn't Jimmy say it yesterday? You like being caught by surprise in comedy, right?
That's
Yeah.
That's
part of
really
the whole
important.
thing, yeah.
Where you
a big thing.
You sit in your seat, and go, whoa.
Yeah.
Right.
The only way I think Tracy should apologize. I mean, look, I would have apologized along with him. Like, I get why he did it, so I'm not being some phony maverick. He shouldn't have said he was sorry. He's got a career and millions of dollars. I get it. I would have said I was sorry too. I really would have. I wouldn't have lost the gig over. It's not worth it, especially for a dumb joke that may not even reflect how you really feel.
Would it be a fake apology?
It would. This is what I say. I don't know. If I said something that I really believed, and in a joke, and I had to come out and apologize for it, like if somebody asked me to apologize for the fact that I made fun of Islam or the fact that I made fun of race, it would be a very phony apology. If I said something in like a weird moment on stage or a tirade that was vicious, that I didn't mean at all, that was like, oh, that's not even the way I feel, then maybe I would. But either way, if I had Tracy's the stakes he's facing, I would say I was sorry.
Yeah, he was.
I'm not going to pretend I wouldn't.
Are we in agreement? He was going for a joke.
It's hard to say without hearing it. I would hope he was, but without hearing it, it's really hard both ways. Because what was he saying something? I could picture him going, my father was I would shoot him in the head, being silly, or was he going, I would shoot the little nigga in the head, like being serious? I don't know. So if he was being serious, that's harder to defend, because if you're just coming out and going like, hey, all kidding aside, folks, if my kid was gay, I'd stab him.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of tough fucking to defend.
I hope someone could come up with a tape of
Yeah, it
him
would
doing
help.
this exact joke somewhere else.
See what it is.
Because I just have a feeling I've heard that before. But if I had a gay son, he went on, I would love him just as much as if he was straight. I might have to try to love even more because I know of the difficulty that he would have in society.
Wow.
Tracy seems like the type of guy that would love his kid no matter what.
He doesn't seem like he'd care. Honestly.
That I feel is the real Tracy. Regretful Morgan explained, of all the sicknesses, there's probably none more abusive than homophobia. My heart is committed to giving everyone the same rights that I deserve for myself. I don't care if you love the same sex as long as you have the ability to love someone.
I think the worst part of if you had a gay son would be the fact that when he's in high school, you wouldn't get those hot girls coming over for the pool parties. Because you hear from fathers all the time going like, oh, God, my son's starting to bring home these girls, and they're fucking beautiful. I don't know what to do. I'm freaking out.
You'd be so...
And you'd just be like, Jesus Christ. Oh, hi, Brad. Hi, Scott.
Wouldn't be bad if they were twinks, but if you like bears, God, what do you have to bring home the fucking? He's a linebacker.
Where's the cabana?
Couldn't you like slender guys?
I said the worst part would be having to go to some weird pizza party. You know what I mean? Because now you got to kind of be accepting and kind of show up.
Oh, there it is. I mean, obviously for a dad, it would be a little awkward. You know, that you could say without any repercussions, because it probably is very awkward. But,
I think
from a selfish point of view, yeah, just missing out on those fucking nubile bodies in bikinis jumping in your fucking backyard pool. Wow.
I think every father that has a son, this is a blanket statement, but it's in the back of your mind.
Yeah. I mean,
would I be accepting? Abso-fucking-lutely. But you're sitting there. I'm already looking for signs. Like, I'm not. That's just how it is to be a father.
Yeah, that
you're not going to change that in me.
Is realistic.
Can I be accepting if it turns out? Yes. But I'm already looking like, all right, he's not picking up any dolls yet.
Let's see. Does he go for the sneakers or the high heels?
Yes.
Playing with the parents' shoes. Let's see. Yay, the sneakers. He went with the sneakers.
And Tracy took that thought that pretty much every father has. Pretty much. I'm sure somebody
took it to the umpteenth level. Yeah.
Yes, but you really think that shit.
But I would think fathers, and seeing how much comedy is made, and it's allowed, if it's very basic like that, about fathers and gay sons and how they're dealing with it, and what they got to do and the awkward moments, because that does make for funny comedy. I think that is kind of an accepted thing, that yes, the father will be uncomfortable. The family will have to go through certain things and mentally to deal with the situation. But, you know, and then you can take Tracy and it's like stab him in the chest or shoot him in the head. All right, that's taking it way to the edge of the level. But how was he saying it?
It really is a difference. And it's funny, on Red Eye last night, one of the women who I was on with, she was nice, but she was saying something about how, like, great comedians always know where the line is. And I said, but that to me is such a common misconception.
Yeah, they don't.
And I was like, Richard Pryor and Carlin lived over the line. Kinnison was a genius. He lived on the other side of the line. Bill Cosby does not. Seinfeld does not. They're also great comics. You don't have to. But don't say because somebody does that they don't understand what great comedy. But that thought right there sums up what so many people feel about comedy. Well, a great comedian doesn't need to use that kind of line. It doesn't have to be anti-gay. It could be just your pussy jokes.
Right.
A good comedian. People always have this thing. A good comedian. ... They always have. And how about you just love Brian Regan and you love Otto and George? Can't you just love both of them instead of fucking finding out why one is more valid than the other? It's so frustrating.
Right, they're both very important as far
Drives
as
me nuts.
wanting to laugh. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
The comedian continued by speaking out against the controversial "Don't Ask, Don't Tell" policy that Congress repeated last year, saying they got him for everything.
They repealed it last year, right?
Yeah, you should have the right, no matter who you are, to protect and serve our country. So they gave him a whole list of things we want, because Collad knows everyone's going to pick this up.
Yeah,
I mean, they're going to get a lot of info out there.
That's exactly what you just said right there. Is exactly.
So they're holding him hostage. That's why I'm.
Every case is exactly what you just said. They know it's going to be picked up.
Right.
They this person says it. So everyone picks it up.
So Tracy Morgan, just to summarize, he apologizes for something that might have offended some people. It should have ended there, even though I don't even agree you should apologize. But then they grab you, they hold you hostage, and they basically give you a whole bunch of bullet points to comment on. And then guess what? The mainstream media and everyone just picks it up.
What they say is, look, we'll allow you to keep your career. We'd like to borrow you and use you as a bullhorn for a few days if we can.
Perfect.
Do you mind if we use you as a bullhorn?
Yeah.
But it's like, how could people with so many different ideologies, whether it's gays or racist or women's groups or Catholicism or Islam, how can every one of them behave exactly the same way?
It is amazing.
That is one thing that all societies agree on. When someone fucks up, use them as a bullhorn for what you'd like them to say.
No matter what the group is,
they all do it.
Because I'm sure Glad is putting out these statements almost on a regular basis, but no one's picking it up.
No one hears it until someone fucks up.
Until someone fucks up, and then they're like, oh, now we get to really be heard.
It's almost like a heckle. They have silence in the room, and they're the one who wants to yell out, bullshit, like while the comedian's on.
You know, you brought up Seinfeld, clean comedian, Seinfeld, known as a clean comedian and stuff like that. I was watching an episode last night. It was the suicide. It was about this guy was in a coma trying to commit suicide because his chick wanting to leave him and stuff. And there were so many suicide jokes being made. And Jerry was like saying a few. It's like, what is that with the... they were talking about Dr. Kevorkian, and he goes, what's with the suicide machine? Aren't there any tall buildings around still? He goes, why can't people just wrap their lips around a revolver like everybody? Like, I mean, and that shit to people that know people that have committed suicide, mental health things, the suicide hotline, things like that would upset them to the point where that would make Jerry like, hey, that's over the line. And then his whole thing at the end, where he does his little stand-up at the end of the show, was on suicide. And, it's like, how come people that commit suicide, they try and they fail, and then they just give up?
Right.
It's like, give it a try.
Keep trying.
If you can't start your car in the garage, get a tune-up.
I would love...
he just was going off on killing yourself, and it would have been very offensive to suicide.
And why is it okay?
I don't know.
We know why it's okay, but why is it okay?
As I was watching
That's pretty brutal
too,
shit. There's a lot of people listening to us right now that have been affected by suicide.
Absolutely.
Dude, I know 6 comedians that have killed themselves.
Yeah.
6.
Really?
6 comics.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
As I was watching that, though, I did realize, I went, this is one I don't really see that much on television because it was on DVD. And I'm like, I don't see this one on TV that much.
I'm sure.
And
they're
I'm wondering if
pushing
they
aside.
just pulled
Of
that
course.
one like, we don't have to play that one.
We have enough to play, so why don't we just shelve this one? Turn it off.
Yeah.
Turn it off. But you do see how it's like it all depends on who complains. Because the suicide, there's no real powerful voice because no one's defending people's right to commit suicide. So there's no suicide voice, if that makes any sense, because they're not being discriminated against. So they don't have a special interest group. It'll just be people piping up here and they're all willy-nilly.
And you know what? And you might not like it, but that's why every single fucking person listening to our voices today should push back.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you're a gay guy that was offended by what Tracy Morgan said.
Now you're telling gay guys to push back. Look, Opie, I'm not going to sit here while you make jokes during this sensitive time.
Good point, because we've said on this show, it's only gay if you push back.
Right.
So you're right.
No need to get us all lathered up.
Wow. Oops.
Push back.
Oopsie. But everyone should be pushing back because
they're never accepted.
Because it's not going to. They're going to go after your little group next. You dummies.
Yeah. Even if you're offended.
We've been saying that for years. Yes. It sucks you're a little offended, but think of the overall thing here. You're going to lose some funny shit out there.
To me, that's when people are really fighting for each other's, and it's not as dramatic as I'll die for your right to say it. It's nothing that melodramatic.
I wonder how many people really mean that.
But
look, I don't agree with what you say, but I'll protect it with my life. Your right to say it. It's like, really? Would you? I don't think you would.
But how about this? How about a compromise? I may not agree with what you say, but I won't try to ruin your career for saying it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there it
you
is.
don't have to throw your own neck out there on the train track.
I'm not going to hang myself.
Yeah, but I'm not going to hold your head down there either.
I may not agree with what you say, but go ahead.
Yeah, but go ahead.
That's all I want out of America. I may not agree with what you say. Fuck it, say it anyway.
Go ahead. I'm alive. You're alive.
Go ahead.
Who was the uninformed woman on Red Eye last night?
I don't know if
That's
she was
someone that's uninformed.
I don't know if she was a strategist or whatever.
You don't know what her
I
thing
have
is?
not done the show with her, no.
Okay.
But what she said was not, it bothered me, but I wasn't annoyed at her because I've heard that a million times. It's a very, very common feeling with comedy. And I want to take a gamble here is that a lot of the people who are offended, not just members of GLAAD, but even people who didn't vocalize their offense or are mad at Tracy, are the same ones that would have said you're an idiot if you wanted to censor what Robert Mapplethorpe did as an artist and as a painter, who a lot of people felt was way over the line and was way offensive. But Robert Mapplethorpe could say, look, this is why I do this. This is my art. And a lot of gay people would absolutely defend him as they should. But those people will abandon Tracy. And you know what? A lot of the blacks defending Tracy, like you said, abandon Imus. It's this fucking phone. It's a game of hot potato in this country with free speech. It is, when you're saying something that is bothering me, I'm going to fucking grab the potato and scream at your face. Although I don't know why you'd hold the potato when it hurts.
When the Imus, we obsess about the Imus thing because when the Imus thing was going down, black radio stations.
Oh yeah.
When it's right, it's right. This is what happened. Black radio stations were applauding, jumping up and down. They were loving
like,
it.
What are you, dumb?
And we're sitting there like, you idiots! They're going to go after you next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're next, dummy.
What are you doing?
Yeah. That was you're absolutely right with Mapplethorpe, though. A lot of gays would look at that and be like, "Hey, he's got the right to show his art. It's art." And not only were they defending him, but they were way far against people that were against him. Like they were condemning everybody that was against Mapplethorpe. Saying, "Oh, you close-minded, fucking, conservative shithead."
Right.
And it's like, wait a minute, you're doing the same exact thing when you try to stick up for what you believe in, and people hate you for it.
Well, like the same people that said that, and I disagreed with Giuliani when he went after that art in the Brooklyn Museum of Art.
Yeah, what does he know about art?
None of his business.
Right.
When it was painted with dung, but that really meant something to Africans. That wasn't some slam on the Virgin Mary.
Right.
The religious groups got very offended. People
I like the dogs playing poker. That's the one I like.
Did he say that?
No, but that would
might
be
as well
funny.
have.
He should. I am hanging up in the Great Mansion.
But people said, I guarantee you that there were not a lot of gay groups that agreed with him. They probably like, oh, like you said, conservative asshole. What are you talking about? But now it's their thing. It's you're either for it or against it. I think DL Hughley said about IMUS, it's a zero-sum game, free speech. And DL's a great example of a guy who kind of shits on everything and who I've never heard complain about what another guy has said. That was just a good way to phrase it. Mm-hmm. Either you're for everybody saying what they want, or you're not.
Right.
There's no fucking middle ground. I know the difference between yelling fire in a movie theater and doing humor on. I know the difference, and we all know the difference.
Yeah,
Battling.
No, you're not. And
no,
it gets back.
it
gets back to Tracy. So Morgan's deepest apologies was aimed at the victims of homophobic bullying, who he reportedly told to stop whining during his heavily criticized act.
Stop whining.
You've been in a million comedy clubs. How many people whine? Oh, you think?
Don't know, because I don't know what his fan base is now. I'd say 10, 15 years ago, when it was just Tracy. But Tracy gets a lot of walkouts on stage because he's harsh.
And he's got a lot of 30 Rock people.
A lot of 30 Rock people. A lot of movie people. Love him in Cop Out. Love him in
that's true.
So
and
his fan base is not what it was. They're a little bit more mainstream now.
Double-edged sword, that whole thing.
Okay.
You get the popularity, you're selling a lot of tickets, but then you got to deal with the people that are like, who is this guy?
Right. What I am most sad about is the comments I made about kids and bullying. This is the last statement. He said, I would never want any young person to think that I wasn't on their side, and if any young person thinks they can bully a young kid, come see me at 30 Rock. On the corner, I'd be happy to meet you.
That'd be fun.
Or Brooklyn if you can't make it to Manhattan. Oh. So we understand why he's going through all this, but it's unfortunate that, we as a society are making people do this.
But if that's the way he really feels, then just as a comic, I would say, well, then shame on you. You should fucking shame on you. But you should convey that in your act.
Right, Nana.
But you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Tracy's a funny enough guy. It's like, if that's how you really feel, then you should kind of be conveying that in your act. It's like Bill Cosby, who I think is brilliant. And Cosby does all this family value stuff, but he has a lot of very harsh opinions on race and on black people talking a certain way. You can't be a doctor talking like...
Yeah.
He should convey that on stage. Not necessarily just when off stage. Fucking bring that on stage.
Right.
You could do that and be clean.
People just like my Phil Flarn bits.
Oh, yeah.
Rare filth and flarn. Right.
Doesn't he have a book coming out? We're trying to get Bill Cosby. I'd love to get him.
Does he? Really? Yeah.
He's a weird guy. I told you, me and my girlfriend went to see him in the fucking Borgata. He just brought us backstage and talked for a half hour.
Oh,
and another couple came in.
Bill.
I was like, all right, Bill, I'm going to watch the show. Oh, you are the show.
Oh, I just wanted a picture with you, Bill.
Yeah, Jesus.
I'm stuck here with you.
But he was so fucking interesting, dude. He was a really...
I would imagine
Cosby.
he would be.
Yeah.
He's had a fucking life and a career, man.
Fuck yeah, man. Pryor used to steal from him. Very, very interesting guy.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He wanted to be... And Pryor said there was room for one. Meeting a black guy like that, and Pryor wanted it to be him, and he conked his hair, and he fucking did Cosby-like material on Sullivan, and it was never quite what Cosby was doing.
Wow.
So then he just became his own person.
He walked off stage. I think the Aladdin in Vegas, he walked off, couldn't handle it anymore. And I went into the Red Foxes Club and the black clubs and Mooney and them would go all these fucking hardcore black rooms. And he just, if you watch Richard Pryor live and smoking in 1971 at the Improv here in New York, he's bombing. He's bombing because the audience is not ready for it. But it's really great. He's smoking and he's just got all this fucking. He's talking about black militants and no one talked about that in 71, except in black clubs.
Right.
And he was filming it, and he was like, he was complaining that it wasn't getting the laughs. But 10 years later, they released it. They didn't. It did so poorly. But he admits sucking a dick. He admits, and he phrased it. He had sex with a gay guy. He's like, I fucked a faggot. He said, never fuck a faggot, because they will tell. He admitted that. It was harsh to say it like that, but Pryor admitted that in 1971.
Wow. Damn. Yeah, that's probably not going to get. That's probably going to get a lot of people just staring.
Oh, dude,
blankly and scared.
It's the fucking.
I'm uncomfortable with that.
Yeah.
He talked about his mother being a hooker. The greatest fuck. It's my favorite stand-up, even though it didn't. It was. You watched it 10 years later. What it became.
What's it called?
Richard Pryor Live and Smoking, and he bombed. It's like 35 minutes.
I'm gonna check it out.
It's at the Improv here in New York.
Live and
I do remember when that came out. That was much later.
Came out in 81.
81?
After Live and Concert had been released in 79 or 80, and I might have even been after Sunset Strip.
Damn.
But he's just, he's so great just standing there. All these fucking amazing thoughts. And I know how they turned out 3 years later on records. Like I know the way the bits became. It's fucking great.
Right on.
Sorry.
All right, we should take a break. We started with a million things and then went with Tracy Morgan. I'm glad we did that. But we got the Wiener thing with Obama commenting on Wiener.
I had another odd dream.
Oh, no.
Can we save it for after the break?
Yeah. Well, I got to eat.
Was it about Wiener?
Well, not. No, I don't think so. But I'll tell you after.
You know what? And I'm not trying to attach myself to what you just said, but I had an odd dream too.
Did you have an odd
And I don't
one?
have a lot of odd dreams. I think I became Jimmy in my dream.
Oh, jeez.
But I mean,
Really?
yeah.
Do you find you like certain things you didn't think you liked?
No, not that bad. I became a picture-taking idiot.
Oh, you did?
And
I might want to rephrase that as a guy who likes pictures. I became a guy
Sorry.
who likes photos.
Sorry.
How about a sweet guy who enjoys a photo now and again?
Now and again.
I became a fucking closet queer who enjoys pictures and has no chin and fat tits. No offense, Jim.
Sorry, Jimmy.
That's accurate.
I did say
A
that
picture
wrong.
taking idiot.
I became a zilch.
You know what? This isn't fair because you said you have a dream, so mine's quick. I was obsessing with taking a picture with Jack Nicholson
Oh, well, that would be.
at
yeah.
some weird. I don't even know where the fuck I was, and he was trying to hide, and I kept like stalking him until I got a picture.
Wow.
And he was
Yeah,
like
that's-
crouched down on a curb, hiding behind a guy. It was some kind of like obscure film festival or something
That's
that
some
I just
kind of
happened
thing,
to.
Jimmy thing.
But I wasn't invited there. I just happened to be like on vacation or something, and I just happened to be in the area where this big, huge thing was going on. I didn't think much of myself that I would actually be invited. I just happened to be there, and now I'm like, holy shit, that's Jack Nicholson. I got to get a picture. And I was obsessing about it. And it was the Jack Nicholson from The Shining. It wasn't current day.
Wow, the good.
It wasn't current
older
day Jack.
or younger Jack.
And then
Nicholson.
finally I got a picture as he turned to look at me with those evil fucking shining eyes of his, all
Yeah.
pissed off. And then also my alarm went off. I'm like, fuck, I want to know what happened.
hate that when you have to wake up.
Yeah,
But that's the only reason.
Going cool.
But the wake up is the only reason why you remember the dream. In the
Although
first
I'm glad
place.
I woke up from last night's one. 'Cause I
Oh,
wanted-
really?
Yeah, I wanted no
I
more,
can't
no
wait
more
to-
of that.
I can't wait.
Here's Johnny. I'm doing some impressions, by the way.
That's
I'll be
good.
doing them tomorrow night at the Antisocial
Oh,
Comedy
shit.
Tour. I close with a good Nicholson. I say, picture Jack Nicholson if he were Anthony Weiner. And I go, how'd you like to see my wiener? Here's my wiener.
That is good.
Wendy, here's my underwear. I do a whole rant on Nicholson. It's
Nice.
so good.
I can't wait to check that
I'm
out.
the Joker in the Batman. Here's my wiener. It is like it.
Oh, okay. I'm
Sure
sorry.
it is.
Sorry.
Hey, are you guys here in a cuckoo's nest of wieners?
Ah, see, you add in the movie names so people really,
I just say
you
it.
drive it home.
Nice.
I played the Wolfman, hairy like the wolf wiener. Here's Johnny.
Here's my dick.
Here's my dick.
Hey, am I leaking gas or is someone having fucking eggs?
I
this
have
morning?
eggs.
Okay.
And hopefully you're leaking gas so we can get our food and our hard-ons together.
I was getting a little nervous there. All right, you're eating eggs.
Yes.
Good. All right, Anthony's dream next.
Ring ding ring ding ring ding pick up the phone, cunt.
Hello?
Pick up the phone, cunt. The phone, cunt. The phone. Pick up the phone, cunt.
Hello?
Ring ding ring ding ring ding pick up the phone, cunt.
Hello?
Pick up the phone, cunt. Pick up the phone, cunt.
Hello?
Gregorio.
Antonio!
Amy.